In this audio series, we talk about some of the most interesting topics first published in Scuba Diver magazine. Read by James Brown. Article photography by Alex Mustard. Website address in description. Alex Mustard explains how nailing down our diving skills is a core element for improving our underwater photography. It's said that the most important piece of photography equipment is the nut that holds the camera. I know that you are all here for photo tips, camera techniques, and hard-won insights, but before we get to that over the coming issues, the easiest way for many of us to rapidly improve our underwater images is to develop our diving skills. Experienced photographers will already be thinking of skimming through this article, but I am not just speaking to new divers here. I know plenty of highly experienced, prize-winning photographers who would get far better images with more diving finesse. An underwater camera can be a terrible distraction and can cause us to lose sight of our buddy, our dive computer, or the delicate marine life below our fins. Being on top of our in-water skills ensures we're as safe as possible too. Underwater, we are the transport, tripod, and hide for our camera, and being stable in the water improves our framing, helps autofocus work better, stirs up less backscatter, and most noticeably keeps our subjects relaxed and close to our lenses. It's a win-win-win-win. Many dive schools offer buoyancy classes, or if you've been out of the water for a while, plan a dive or two at the start of a trip without your camera to rebuild those skills. That said, I'd actively encourage you to train with camera in hand. There is no point developing perfect trim that is thrown totally off balance as soon as you handle a camera. Diving educators can preach pretty fanatically about the virtues of diving completely horizontally in the water. That's fine for normal divers. But the best underwater compositions are unlikely to come when you are in that comfortable horizontal pose in the water. Practice and set up your weights to work as you are likely to shoot. An underwater photographer will regularly end up in all positions, including upside down to get the camera as low as possible with legs above, away from the reef. Getting close to subjects is essential for powerful underwater pictures. Slow, smooth, and steady body movements and breathing are the key skills and make a big difference to the quality of our marine life encounters. Learn to be sympathetic to wild subjects. Don't surprise them. Instead, exude non-threatening body language. Taking a few extra moments when stalking will usually greatly extend an encounter. Don't swim straight at a subject. With a turtle, for example, we should track almost parallel to it, slowly closing the distance, staying low and minimizing eye contact. Once a creature is spooked, the chance of standout images is gone. Notoriously shy species like eagle rays and hammerheads usually require a different approach. If we spot them, we are better off hiding out of sight until they are very close, then popping up and grabbing our shot. A golden rule of scuba diving is don't hold your breath. However, most photographers quickly learn that controlling their breathing at peak moments is beneficial. The eruption of exhaled bubbles can scare subjects and will shake the camera when precisely framing a picture. Our own bubbles will also appear in upward-looking fisheye shots, and they can even block the light from a strobe positioned above the camera. The biggest watershed moment in the development of most underwater photographers is when they start to dive for their pictures, not just take photos when they dive. Photo dives tend to be most productive when we stay within our diving comfort zone, so we can give photography our undivided attention. In short, this means that photographers often stay shallow. Of the 8 UPY winners featured in last month's Scuba Diver magazine, 7 of them were taken shallower than safety stop depth. Of course, we all have different comfort zones, and various types of dives we are most at ease doing. So there are no hard and fast rules about depths, temperatures, visibility, etc. You will know your own comfort limits, and if you are planning a dive to push them, it is probably best to leave the camera behind, because at best the dive is likely to be unproductive for images. Another reason for staying shallow is time. Time to experiment, and time to improve an image. Underwater photography is always against the clock. None of us gets to dive as much as we'd like, gets to stay as deep for as long as we'd like. It is a fundamental skill to use this time well. Remember that boat time is free time. It is time to get both our camera and our head ready. Dives tend to be most productive when we have a plan for the shots we want and optimize our camera gear accordingly. Of course, we might get better opportunities once underwater, but trying to photograph everything we see is a surefire route to a lot of mediocre images. The final and most important consideration is an ethical approach to fragile environments and our subjects. There are lots of valuable advice around, but most comes down to respecting marine life and its home. What's critical is that we make this part of our diving, not just pay it lip service. Ask yourself when was the last time you turned down a subject, such as a pygmy seahorse, because it was poorly positioned? Also, do your photo sessions always end with the subject swimming away? Or do you regularly leave that hawksbill turtle happily foraging on the reef when your photography is done? Being an ethical photographer is not measured in how much you rant on social media, but on how you actually behave when you are in the water. You've been listening to the Scuba Diver Magazine audio series. For more great stories like this one, visit scubadivermag.com/audio series.